So I'm just going to make this video real quick because, you hear plenty about the CRF300L suspension being soft, quote, soft. This suspension isn't soft. It's non-existent. See, nobody out there is really telling the truth about it. They're padding it. This is a dual sport. This isn't a supermoto. This is a dual sport, meaning it should be able to handle the road and off-road well enough. It's, in my opinion, it's not even good on the road, and I'll tell you why. Now, steering and stuff is good. This all boils down to the suspension. I don't have as much of a gripe about the front as the rear. The rear is essentially useless. The only thing that the rear is good for is soaking up bumps very well. It soaks up bumps on the road only. Really nice. The ride on the road is nice. The few times that I've had this out, this bike has 150 miles on it. The few times that I have had it out, 2 out of 5 times, I have experienced a very bad, incident, or not incident, but a very bad moment with the suspension, like noticeably troubling. So the first time that I noticed it was transitioning from, it was on road, and transitioning from a small short bridge that has just a little bit of a fucking, a curve to it. Not a fucking curve, a goddamn hump to it. So transitioning off of that short bridge back to pavement. All pavement. The bridge is paved road. And transitioning basically off of the bridge to the road again. Still paved, no break in it, nothing. The rear end just nearly bottomed out, and it felt very uncomfortable, very unsafe. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Listen, I've rode motorcycles since I was 12 years old. I haven't had a ton of motorcycles like people have had. I've had a fair share, and I've rode a fair share. I've never seen anything like this. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Here's the deal. This bike is sprung for the Asian market. It's sprung for the Asian market where they ride around town and run their errands and go to work and stuff like that. That's what this is sprung for. This bike should come with a completely different rear spring minimum for the European market. This is sprung for a 120-pound rider. Okay? Nothing about this to me is a kid's bike. It has a very good ride height. Is it 34.5 or 34.7 seat height? When you sit on it, it collapses substantially more. You can see the videos of that. I'm not going to finagle the camera and stuff. You can look at, I'm trying to give you all the stuff that people are sugarcoating, in my opinion, because it's just my opinion. What you're probably going to see is a whole lot of people that comment on this video saying, it's not that bad, you're over-exaggerating. Oh, it's rider error. I told you, motherfuckers, I've been riding since I was 12 years old. What you've got out there is a whole lot of people on the YouTube channels that are sponsored. They are getting things for free, this, that, and the other. and they're not going to tell you the honest truth about it. And then what you're going to get when you get in like a Facebook group or something for it, or talk to people who have bought it, you're going to get a lot of people who are subconsciously fanboy ankle grabbing for it. So you're never going to hear the truth. But, you know, I only deal in truth. I separate myself from the herd that way. Or I should say the flock of sheep. I'll tell you what the fuck it is all day long. And what it is useless. The rear suspension on his bike is useless other than some city runaround stuff. And it's great for that. But this is a dual sport. It's supposed to be capable enough off-road and on-road. And it's not. It's worthless. Yesterday, this was the other incident I had. I took it out to run it around the neighborhood and just, you know, keep the battery topped up. Because we got some warm days here. And we're going into January. So, like to just keep fresh fuel in the system and keep the battery topped up. And so I ran it around the neighborhood. Everything's fine. There's an area in the neighborhood that used to have some buildings on it, and they were bulldozed, and it's a big lot now that's full of dirt. And there's some little hills there. They're not hills. They're more like whoops. So I veered off the street up into there. Probably about, 15 mile an hour. I approach a couple of these whoops, and I stand lightly, and I'm going about 10 miles an hour now. I'm going to hit this whoop, and what I experience is my neck and lower back essentially snapping back in a jarring of the suspension just collapsing when hitting that whoop. Absolutely ridiculous. It scared the shit out of me. I just kind of, I hit the brakes, slid to a stop, and was just like, am I fucking paralyzed? This bike is dangerously undersprung for the European market. I'll say it again, dangerously undersprung. These bikes in the European market should be recalled. There should be mass consumer complaints about the rear shock on this bike. And I'm sure there isn't, because what you have nowadays is a bunch of ankle grabber consumers who are satisfied to just, ho-hum, take it up the ass. This isn't a... Everybody says, oh, you get... Listen, the rest of the bike, this is an excellent platform. But $6,500 isn't chump change, okay? It's not chump change. Suspension is an integral key component for a vehicle. And this doesn't have one. It's insane to me. So, before I ride this bike again and paralyze myself, listen, I'm 6 foot, 200 pounds. Okay? I'm not a lightweight. But I'm no big guy. I'm not fat. And like I said, this is the European market over here. These bikes need to be coming with a different shock to the European market than this shock. Send this one to the Asian market. That's fine. But yeah, the European market, these bikes, at least, I saw somebody say, at least there should be shock options at the dealerships that are swappable for you when you buy this bike. For a slight, uptick in price or whatever. But there isn't. And everybody is just amassing a pile of these rear shocks in garages across America because they're useless garbage. That's what that boils down to. If people across America are piling this shock up in their garages, it's garbage. You were sold some garbage. And nobody's telling you this. There's some people that are, mirroring my opinion on the pages and shit, but mostly what you get is a bunch of people, like I said, ankle grabbers, fanboys, who are trying to, reach really hard to, and they're projecting and all this mental gymnastic bullshit that people do nowadays to justify them overpaying for something and not getting what they paid for. I've been a Yamaha rider my entire life. You get what you pay for when you buy a Yamaha. You most certainly do not get an incomplete bike. And what this is an incomplete bike in the European market. So know that unless you are 120, 130 pounds max, the first thing you're going to do, you're going to ride this bike 15 to 50 miles, maybe 100 miles, and you're not going to want to ride it again until you spend however amount of money, $500, $1,000, depending on, what you want, to fix the suspension on this bike. I think that's all I wanted to say about it. Like I said, everybody is downplaying how bad this is. It's terrible. It's terrible. And there should be mass consumer complaints about it. And the bikes should be recalled back to the dealerships. And Honda needs to offer a swap out. Just leave it up to the consumer, whether, it's good enough for them. Because, there are I don't know any 130-pound adult males. Personally, I don't. But that's all I wanted to say about this bike. I just wanted to put the truth out there for you all that you can't get anywhere else.